Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Amig, your friendly rheumatologist. And today you are in for a treat because we have Tami Stackelhouse, who is a coach and also a patient of fibromyalgia, you're going to see. And she has created something extraordinary. And you're going to love it. And if you know someone who has fibromyalgia, or if yourself have fibromyalgia, you really don't want to miss this episode because we're going to learn so much. All right, Tami, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Let's jump right in. Tell us your story.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. So, as you said, I'm a coach, but I'm also a patient. So I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I don't know, it was about 6 months after I got married. So that was its own challenge, maybe a story for a different day. But, after I was diagnosed, for the first 2 years of my diagnosis, I really felt like I was just treading water, right? Like we were trying these different medications. I was just trying to get through the day. And at a certain point, I had one of those moments of clarity, where you kind of see your life flash before your eyes. And what I saw, I was not happy with. It was like all downhill. So I went to my doctor and I said, is there something else we can do? I've seen this vision of my future. It's not a future I want. What can we do about it? And she introduced me to a health coach, which was not what I was expecting. But after 6 months of working with that coach, I was in such a different place. I had gone from, struggling to do all the things my doctor had told me to do, right, to actually doing them. So changing my diet, changing my sleep habits, pacing myself a little bit better, and just having somebody to bounce all of that off of and to hold me accountable was honestly life-changing. So that was really the beginning for me. And after that experience of how that changed my life so much, I wanted to pay that forward, right? I wanted other people to have that experience. And so I started working as a coach, specifically with fibromyalgia patients, because that's my area of expertise. I wrote a couple of books, and partway along the way, I realized I can't help everybody, right? I needed to find a way to duplicate myself. And so I started teaching others how to coach fibromyalgia patients. And that's when the International Fibromyalgia Coaching Institute was born.
Yeah, I think that's really a cool thing. When I said to the auditors, this is extraordinary, I mean, it is really, truly extraordinary because you took, some, difficult life experience and turned it into a gift, and a gift not only for you, but also for the community around you. And, as a physician, I will tell you, this is so helpful because there's science to fibromyalgia, and we're learning more and more about it. For example, we're learning that very often it's small fibers neuropathy. So it's like the neuropathy. So it's a nerve damage, basically, but that you don't necessarily pick up on a electromyogram, so EMG. But if you were to do like a biopsy of the skin, you would see that there's less nerve ending, and that is the reason for more pain. And there's not much treatment, right? So we do offer some treatment. There is some medications, but the truth is that it's really mostly in lifestyle. I do want to say, though, that lifestyle changes also help with very inflammatory arthritis. So it's not that it doesn't help. I think it's just that for fibromyalgia, that is even more important.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this institute. So you, you became very successful at what you did, and then more and more people wanted to see you.
Exactly.
Then what triggered that desire to create an institute? And thank you for doing that.
Yes. Yeah. Great question. So I think the biggest thing was I got to the point where my personal coaching practice was full, and I still had people reaching out for help. I couldn't help them, and I had nowhere else to send them. Right? There wasn't anybody else out there that was really doing the same kind of work that I was doing. There are obviously other health coaches, but didn't have the background and the experience and the knowledge of fibromyalgia to be able to help these particular people. And so that was when I knew I had to make more of me, right? Because I could not help everybody that was reaching out to me. My book was actually written, my first book, Take Back Your Life, was actually written to kind of help with this a little bit, right? If people couldn't work with me one-on-one, they could at least read my book, right? My book also then became the curriculum for the training program, and kind of the foundation of that.
Yeah, that's really a really cool thing. So what are the type of coaches that you have? Or I guess there is a twofold in this question. So what do you think are the mainstay of this program? And what type of coach do you have? And I will say, for those who are listening, I think that that's really important to realize the power of what our patients can do, because clearly there was a need here in the community. I mean, the truth is that if you put fibromyalgia on a referral, no rheumatologist out there will see the patient. It's like literally they will say no, even, and this is where it gets me really angry, even without making a first visit, because I truly believe that we need to see patients who have fibromyalgia just to be certain that they don't have a rheumatologic condition. Mm-hmm. But so there is definitely a lot of fibromyalgia patients, and there is very little resources for them. I think a lot of our patients feel gaslit. And so I'm really intrigued at what is this program that you're offering, and what are the type of people who can come and learn to become coach themselves?
Yes, absolutely. There's a few questions in there. So just, to take a step back, fibromyalgia coaching is like you would imagine any other kind of coach, right? We're there to help hold you accountable, to help, you remember why you're doing what you're doing, encourage you, support you, somebody who's on your side, who doesn't have, their own opinions on what you should do, right? Like if you were to ask a family or a friend, it's going to affect them too, right? So that is like what a coach can do. Specifically with fibromyalgia coaching, I also teach people like the science behind fibromyalgia. What are the treatment options? Here's the medications. Here's what they do. Here's why your doctor might prescribe them. Here's supplements that might do similar things. Here's alternative treatments. All of these kinds of things, that specific fibromyalgia knowledge that, let's be honest, most doctors don't have. Like, it's not taught in medical school, right? So we are there to educate those patients and hopefully bridge that gap a little bit, particularly for, not so much for the rheumatologists like you who would know, but for the primary care or, their other providers who may not have that depth of knowledge. And then, of course, all those things of holding the client accountable, helping them break down goals, learn pacing, and most importantly, we all have fibromyalgia ourselves, right? So we can teach you tips and tricks and like life hacks from somebody who's actually been there, done that, right? So for people who would become good coaches, you don't actually have to have fibromyalgia, but I do think it's a great start because it's easier to understand people when you've literally walked in their shoes. But like you as a rheumatologist, like you don't have fibromyalgia, but yet you can still be helpful. So the big thing is really the two big things I look for. One is just a heart to help people. This is not an easy population to help. Fibromyalgia is not easy. So we really have to care about our people. And then people who care about those details, right? Like the actual science, not the pseudoscience, right? That care about getting to the proper diagnosis, not just fibromyalgia as a easy answer, right? And digging deeper. So those are really the things that I look for people to join my training programs.
Okay. Yeah, that's really I think it's really cool that you're doing this. I think it's also, As a physician and as a rheumatologist, I love seeing this because there's a path forward for patients with fibromyalgia where you're basically saying, hey, do this. It's going to help you, but also it's going to help other people. Yeah. And to me, that is so valuable because even when you feel like quitting, then you're like, no, I cannot quit because I need to be there for other people. And so
exactly
there's this
right.
accountability piece. Yeah, no, I love this. I think it's truly extraordinary and it's really a cool program. Now, tell us a little bit about the results that you're getting in terms of your patients and the patients of other coaches, because I think that that's really important as well. Again, from a rheumatology standpoint, one of the reasons why doctors, the rheumatologists don't really want to see fibromyalgia is that they don't have good outcome. If they had good outcome, I can assure you that they would see everyone.
Right.
But they don't have very good outcome. And one of the reasons is that if you don't see your rheumatologist more than every 3 months or every 4 months, sometimes every 7 months or even every year, I mean, there's zero accountability possible if you're seeing them that infrequently, really. So tell us a little bit about the results.
Yeah, I love this question because it really, like, the proof is in the pudding, right? So with the students who go through my training program, they have weekly lectures with me. They also are working one-on-one with their own coach. So they're getting both things there. And we have them take the Fibromyalgia Impact Questionnaire when they start, and we have them take that at the end of the class. So what we see on average is an improvement of right around 50%. It's like 47 point something percent. But, for the patients out there, you could think of that like, cutting your symptoms in half, really, and being able to not just like do more things, but have less pain, less fatigue, and also just your own mental state, right? Like your satisfaction with life, right? So that is about what we're seeing. Of course, different coaches working on different things with different patients. Those, all of my coaches are independent businesses. They track their own results. So I can't tell you that part. But I can say for our classes, it's about 50%. And we've got coaches who specialize in all kinds of different things, right? So I've got a coach who helps moms with kids, single moms in particular. I've got a coach that works with people who have past trauma. I have another coach who has Sjogren's herself. So she really specializes in helping people who have other autoimmune things, not just fibromyalgia. I have a coach that specializes in helping career women with like all the stuff you have to do with working with your employer and potentially getting work accommodations and things like that. So there's lots of different kinds of coaches, depending on what your needs are and what you're looking for.
So this is the researcher in me, but Tami, have you ever planned or done any research in the sense of, have you published your result? Because I mean, that's so we used to have, we still have quality improvement projects. So this would absolutely be sort of a quality improvement project, probably a little bit better. But have you thought of publishing this?
I've thought about that a lot, but I'm a coach, and so thinking about like, I don't really even know what that would mean, right? Like what that would entail. I mean, I've been tracking our Fibromyalgia Impact Questionnaire scores for the last several years, which is why I can give you that number. But, I don't know what it would take to turn that into a research article or study or anything like that. But I would definitely be interested in that because this is information people need to know. Coaching isn't just a nice thing to have. Like, it really can change your life, and it really can improve your symptoms in a very practical way, not just help you feel better about having fibromyalgia. We can actually help you feel better, full stop.
Agreed. I fully agree. I'm very much of someone who thinks that coaches can really change your life. Even if it's just this accountability piece, which is so powerful. So yeah, no, I'm definitely like, I really believe in what you do. Now, tell us a little bit how, like, what do you want to say to people right now that are listening or looking, viewing, and what do you want to tell them when it comes to fibromyalgia, if they have fibromyalgia or if they know someone with fibromyalgia?
So the first thing I would say is this doesn't have to be the end. So often we're diagnosed and told, get used to your new normal. There's not a lot we can do for you. Like, this is your life now. It does not have to be that way. There is a lot that can be done to improve fibromyalgia. A lot of it is work that you will have to do yourself, but there is a lot that can be done to improve fibromyalgia. So that's the first thing I want people to know, is that there is hope and you can feel better. The second thing is just that there are people out there who can help you, right? So go grab copies of my books. You can get them for free on my website. Go listen to the podcast, educate yourself, meet with a coach, see what other ideas there are. You don't have to do this alone, and there are people out there who can actually help.
I love it. This is the tagline, hope driven by science. So I'm really, really loving your words here. So Tami, where can we find you? Of course, we will have all of this in the notes for the show. But yeah, where can we find you? Where people can find you?
Absolutely. So the Fibromyalgia Podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. You can go look for it there. It's also available for free online at fibromyalgiapodcast.com. On that same website, there is also the option, just look for books in the main menu. You'll be able to download my books for free. And then you'll also find a coach in the menu if you're looking to have a consultation with a coach, or be a coach in the menu if you would like to be a coach yourself. That's kind of the one-stop shop right there.
I love it. And we will put out all this. Well, Tami, this has been wonderful. I think that you provide so much hope. But it's what I really like about what you're doing is that it's really in a systematic way, where there is data to begin with, and there is data to finish this program, and that it's really spreading this improvement of fibromyalgia. And that's so needed right now. And I think really, like, there is so much hope when someone like you and some people like your coaches are out there. I really want to say, like, yeah, like, you don't have to just give up. Like, no, like, look for help in people who have already walked the path. So thank you so much for your work. And I'm so, so grateful that you agreed to be on the podcast. Thank you, Tami.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. See you next week.